Let's bring in senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky, along with ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett and attorney Jeffrey Robbins for more on this. Brad, how concerned are you that there could be copycat attacks on FBI agents or offices after this standoff, but particularly with the Justice Department now poised to release the Mar-a-Lago search warrant?
I'm really concerned. If you look at this shooting yesterday, it's a great example of a desperate person, a poor plan, goes into a highly secure area against probably hundreds of agents, some heavily armed, and then flees. So really, it doesn't really take planning. So are there people out there similar to this guy? The answer is, of course, and they're looking for some justification to launch an attack, in this case against FBI agents. So if I were still active, I'd be very concerned and aware as I moved around.
Now, Aaron, Republicans want to know how the FBI got the information that led to the search warrant, suggesting that there may have even been an informant close to former President Trump. What do we know about that?
We know, Diane, that the authorities had been interviewing different associates of the former president, people who worked with him in the White House, and they developed information about this classified material that they sought during the search on Monday. They had subpoenaed this material earlier in the spring and visited the president's estate back in June. But whatever the president did to comply with that subpoena apparently wasn't enough, and they took the more invasive step on Monday because they were so concerned about some of this stuff with its national security implications. We've learned that they wanted to get it back right away.
Now, Jeff, former President Trump says he will not oppose the release of this search warrant. So when do we get to see it, and what will it tell us?
Well, he says he doesn't oppose it. He calls on the Department of Justice to release it. Why don't we just shortcut this and have him press send and send it to all of us, because he's got it right now. I don't know what he's waiting for. I don't know what he's been waiting for since Monday. He can do it right now. We don't actually need to wait for the magistrate to rule on the motion to unseal file the Department of Justice. If the former president actually wants us to see the warrant and see the materials associated with the warrant, he can just send them to us right now. You know, every time you think you have seen the lowest level of mendacity from these people, there we are shown that there's actually a lower level. The attacks on the FBI and law enforcement that we have seen are just horrific, as anybody who's ever had the privilege of working with these brave men and women can tell you.
But, Jeff, legally, you know, assuming the president's not going to release it himself, the former president, which it looks like he's not, how long could we wait before the Justice Department is able to release it?
Well, the Department of Justice has asked the court to release it. It says it's subject to the objection of the former president. The former president is calling for the documents to be released. My hope is that his attorneys, if that's actually what he wants to have happen, will promptly file a document with the court saying, we agree, we think it should be unsealed, at which point you would imagine that the magistrate would say, okay, the Department of Justice thinks it should be unsealed. The object, let's say, of the search warrant says it should be unsealed. Let's unseal it. Failing any other reason why the two parties' agreement on this shouldn't be adhered to, you would expect to see the documents released today.
Now, Brad, Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee say that the FBI didn't have to use a search warrant here and had other options to get this classified material that they wanted. So what options does the FBI have in a situation like this? And what do you make of the fact that they chose to take this step?
Well, because they had taken other steps, a number of them. Here's how it runs. Unless you have some exigent circumstance, something's going to get destroyed, you go to the person's attorney and you ask them voluntarily to turn over. That didn't work. They go to a subpoena, which is next, which is a command, but it's not a search, it's not an arrest, anything like that. And they didn't comply with that. So finally, they go to a search warrant because they have no other option. I'm sure they spelled that out to the judge. We've tried less intrusive approaches, and he didn't comply to them. So that's why you ended up with a search warrant. They had amazing patience, in my view, considering the apparent sensitivity of what they were going after.
Now, Aaron, the investigation continues even as this battle over the search warrant release plays out. So what are the next steps here?
Well, I think the FBI wants its material back, or wants whatever material it is back in the safe custody of the National Archives or wherever it belongs. And so if they've got everything that they expected to get, well, then the only decision then would be to charge former President Trump with a crime over his handling or mishandling of classified material. And if the search warrant records are released, we may get a sense of the underlying crime that the FBI suspects occurred. That does not, however, mean that the former president would necessarily be charged with mishandling classified material. A conviction on that charge, by the way, comes with a 3-year prison sentence. So there are a number of different decisions that the Justice Department has yet to make. And you heard Attorney General Merrick Garland said in this particular case, given who's involved and what's involved, he takes nothing lightly.
So, Jeff, do you think we could see charges filed against the former president? And if so, how would that work?
Well, you know, we talk about mishandling, and that seems to be an excessively polite way, based on what we now know, to look at this. Mishandling might be putting something in the wrong banker's box. Mishandling might be putting something in the wrong manila folder. This doesn't look like mishandling. It looks like the deliberate, repeated withholding of classified information, not once, not twice, but 3 times, and then the hiding of that classified information, which, if the reporting is correct, includes nuclear-related documents. So we may have a serious problem here in the form of somebody who has deliberately disobeyed the law, if that's what the evidence shows.
All right, Jeffrey Robbins, Brad Garrett, Aaron Katursky, thank you all.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.